is it?
It's hyper cool, man. It's really, really cool.
I can't believe I'm making this video again. Welcome back to the final video of 2019. Those words, the fact that they are exiting my face right now is ludicrous. It seems like this year has evaporated. It's been absolutely incredible. The montage at the beginning of this video was a very small slice, a very small sort of mixture, concoction of the things that I've been doing over the year. But more specifically, this is a recap of the projects that I've been doing with Michelin. A big thank you to you and a big thank you to them. And also, as always, we're going to get you involved towards the end of this video as to helping carve the direction, the path for the collaboration with Michelin in 2020, a new decade. What is going on right now? So let me just set a spot of context. I know we all enjoy a spot of context on this channel. Oftentimes when you team up with a brand on a channel, and this is actually a story which I told in my Michelin recap video at the end of 2018, oftentimes it can be interpreted by the audience or by whoever's watching that you've brought this brand on board just for the cash. Now, for me, I've always done brand deals with people that understand it and get it. The idea is that these brands help to facilitate content for you that would otherwise be very difficult for me to activate. So what I'm going to do is highlight the many doors and politics and various different things that Michelin and myself as a joint team have been able to overcome in order to bring you some very exclusive content. And let's start with the Aston Martin Valkyrie series. So this actually started with Michelin from day one. Conveniently, they are the exclusive tyre partner with Aston Martin on the Valkyrie, and things have ramped up over 2019, which culminated in us seeing the first ever time that the development prototype of Valkyrie turned the wheel in anger at Silverstone earlier this year. What a moment that was. We've heard that engine in isolation running on a bench, and we've ran over countless stats and figures and drooled over how incredible the Valkyrie looks. In fact, I got the first look of what the production-ready version of the Valkyrie will look like earlier at the Geneva Motor Show this year. But putting those two things together for the first time, working closely with Michelin, Aston Martin and Red Bull Advanced Technologies, they basically granted us the exclusive on the first time that that car drove, which is absolutely incredible. I can't believe we managed to pull that off, but that's just an example of how I like to do brand deals and brand partnerships. It's not always about the cash, it's about, okay, there is support there, but how can these guys activate content which otherwise wouldn't be possible? Imagine getting a world first on Valkyrie's first drive. Insane. Speaking of first drive, that is a massive part of 2020. This is when I will actually get to drive a Valkyrie for the first time. Massive plans for that. Shan't go into too much detail right now, but rest assured, it will be worth it. Anyway, I just want to round off the Valkyrie story before moving on to the other examples of incredible content that we did with Michelin this year. I have been graced with the opportunity of getting involved with a real Valkyrie build slot. So a close friend of mine basically gave me free rein on his spec. I know that sounds ridiculous, but at the beginning of this year, to tie it all in with the Michelin project, I was able to spec a real Valkyrie. The significance of that is they're making very few of these cars, around about 125 road cars, and to be able to give the opportunity to configure a real car, which will really be built, it will really turn up, and we're really going to drive it next year, is a remarkable addition to this Michelin story. So that I'm taking you along for. If you're joining this video in this series or this channel for the first time, thank you, welcome, but I implore you to go back and check out the Valkyrie playlist because there are some significant milestones in there. Together with that, I also got the opportunity, once again, thanks to Michelin putting me in touch with the right people at Red Bull, I got the opportunity to go into Red Bull Racing's simulator. So we basically drove the simulation of a benchmark platform of where the Valkyrie will sit in comparison to what we would currently class as supercars and hypercars. You got to watch that video. That was quite early on in the development cycle of Valkyrie. Things have moved on much further since then, but even then that simulator just set a whole new world of context as to the kind of operating window and platform that Valkyrie will be operating in, benchmarking it against things like a McLaren P1, a GT2 RS. It is in a completely different stratosphere of performance compared to anything else that I have ever experienced. So that's going to be a massive one for 2020. Onwards to the next exclusive opportunity, and this time another hypercar, Koenigsegg. So just before Koenigsegg launched Jesko, they opened yet another incredibly exclusive door, and I got to go to the factory in Ängelholm, Sweden, to hang out with Christian von Koenigsegg for an entire day during the build-up to the Geneva Motor Show, where they were launching the Koenigsegg Jesko. The significance of the name Jesko is that's actually the name of Christian von Koenigsegg's father. He's named his latest greatest hypercar after him. I just spent the whole day with him in awe of this man's passion and knowledge, the engineering that Koenigsegg as a team are putting in place, their growth plans. Very exciting stuff from Koenigsegg coming next year, which I shall be sure to share with you. But having that opportunity, once again, this is a great example of me walking through a door which I otherwise wouldn't have been able to without the assistance of the correct brand partner. It's all about unlocking doors. That's ultimately what this channel is all about. I would really like you to know this. Everything that happens on this channel, I always think of audience first. I just want it to be a great experience for you. The reason being, when this channel started, it was all about trying to put as many people in the passenger seat or in the driver's seat of these cars as I possibly could through audio, visual, and this descriptive vocabulary that seems to randomly fall out of my face. That seems to be working fairly well so far, but the idea is there's all of these exclusive things which go on behind the scenes that I often can't share, and opening these doors and getting, an exclusive private walk around with Christian von Koenigsegg himself during the build of Jesko before it's unveiled at the Geneva Motor Show. That's the kind of stuff which I love sharing with you. And that car, they'll be launching 2 packs for that car. High downforce, low drag. So high downforce pack is considered the sort of track pack, which will be the performance focused variation of Jesko. And then they're doing a low drag, low downforce version, which I'm hoping we'll see a ultra high speed run next year, which might well knock Bugatti off that top spot of fastest production car in the world. So very exciting things coming from Koenigsegg next year, and with the collaboration of the right partners, I'll be taking you guys along for the ride. Now then, something else that I started this year was the Modern Classics series. The reason I actually started that series was because in January I became the proud father of a wonderful baby boy, and as a result I wanted to be at home more. I wanted to be in the UK more and ultimately at home more, and I was like, how do I make continued great content but stay at home? You see, typically I fly and travel so much because car launches are never in England. So every time I get on a plane, I go to a different country to launch and film a new car to ultimately share with you guys. But with Modern Classics, I'm able to phone up friends, phone up brands and say, would you please be so kind as to deliver the car to my doorstep? Then I can film them at home on the same day and return to home the same day and still share with you guys some really interesting content. The other thing which I haven't really shared is it's a bit of a selfish move because that's a sort of genre of cars which I'm personally particularly passionate about. Transpires that series went down a storm. Now, the significance of this story is that I managed to get behind the wheel of an SLS Black Series. The fascination of that car, obviously it's a phenomenal car, one of my all-time favorite cars. But what I found interesting was it was a bespoke project in collaboration with Michelin to develop a specific tyre for that car, which was the last time I'm aware that AMG and Mercedes and Michelin worked together to develop something specific for that car. However, next year, we shall also be seeing the dawn of the Mercedes AMG Project One. Lo and behold, Michelin are also the tyre partner for that car, so no doubt we'll be getting some access to that. But I just thought it was an interesting tie and crossover. 2 cars completely generations apart, but equally as significant for both brands as it is interesting for you and me. Now then, one of the major highlights this year was Gumball 3000. Now, I've done Gumball now for the last 10 years. This year, was turned up to 11. I don't know if I'm going to be able to top the car that I did it in this year in any other years. Let's not say never. Maybe we'll end up doing Gumball in a Valkyrie one day. But this year I was in it in an Aston Martin Vulcan. Now, that car is a track-only race car. Together with a friend who invited me to pilot it on Gumball 3000, he converted it to a road-going version of an Aston Martin Vulcan, 25 of these track-only cars ever made. But of course, it required the appropriate road rubber, and along comes Michelin to make that possible. So that car did 3,000 miles. It's used to running on slicks. And we ended up driving across Europe on a pair of Michelin Pilot Sport Cup 2s, which were a treat. But this is, again, another example of where it's a partnership which isn't always rubbed in your face. You know, I'd like to think that you guys are aware that in the background, Michelin are there supporting this channel, but I don't always want to be, boom, there's this big logo all the time. Logo. Ultimately, that was another project which they had a helping hand in, providing the right tyres for that very, very special car. And it was just them in the background giving a little helping hand on what was otherwise a very substantial project. So thank you for that one, Michelin. That was definitely one of my top 10 life moments, traveling across Europe in an Aston Martin Vulcan. Goodwood. So at the Festival of Speed, Michelin are the title sponsor of the supercar paddock. This year, another exclusive blew my mind. Michelin and Porsche put me in the seat of the new 935 supercar. So this is a sort of tribute to the original Porsche 935. It's based on a 991 GT2 RS Club Sport, but it's built to replicate that whole whale tail vibe of the original 935. A track-only car running Michelin slicks up the Goodwood hill climb. The Goodwood hill climb is a really interesting environment because every car without exception you've never driven before. They're always brand new cars which are being unveiled for the first time. So Porsche were like, there you go, hop in this 700 horsepower rear wheel drive car on cold slicks, go up that hill and make sure it looks good because there's 40,000 people watching you. So as an occasion, it's like I'm trying to film it and share it with you. I'm trying to convey information about the car, trying to put on a show for the show, but just an incredible experience. And once again, that was a great example of an exclusive. Michelin supercar paddock going up in the 935, which up until that point, no one had ever shared. So that was a remarkable moment. And then later on in the year, I saw a car which I didn't expect to see. So Sir Ian Callum, famous designer, spent time at Aston Martin, spent time at Jaguar Land Rover, recently retired and then sprung up his own business called Callum Designs. Now, you may or may not know that Ian Callum designed the original Aston Martin Vanquish. One would consider that to be one of the most beautiful, timeless looking cars to ever grace the road. He, however, despite the fact that he actually penned it himself, didn't think so. And so as part of the first project of Callum Designs, based on the technology which is available today that wasn't available when he designed the car then, he decided to reinterpret what the Vanquish could be if it was redesigned today. And so there was lots of fondling and fettling and refining to make that car, dare I say it, even more beautiful. Lo and behold, the reason that I got involved in that car is, you guessed it, Michelin are the exclusive tyre provider and partner to that car. So once again, I got this incredible exclusive. I got to walk around Ian's design studio, spoke with him, hung out with him for the day, and it was really lovely to be in that environment in a quite an informal way. It wasn't like, right, let's sit down and take notes and be all journalistic about it. It was just, right, Ian, what have you been up to, mate? You know, and we just walk around and it was a really informal chat, and I think that's when you get the most out of folks. And then finally I got to fit my Ferrari F12 TDF with a set of PS4S tyres so that I could run it for the majority of the year. The tyres that car comes on as standard this time of year, not great. And even though a PS4S is not to be confused with a winter tyre, it definitely allows you to run it throughout the year. And so the original group of YouTubers, myself, Sam, Seb and Paul, sadly, Shmi couldn't make it, but hopefully next year we'll get him on a big road trip. We all got together and went on a little road trip through the Cotswolds. Basically, those those tyres this time of year transformed the way that car handles. And what's really great for me being an ambassador for this brand is to now have all of my cars on the same rubber. So that was a really nice way of finishing this year. And so that's it, really. For me, it's just important to remind and give insight into the value of brand partners coming on board on this channel. Often audience, or particularly those that like to comment, just say, oh, I wonder how much he was paid for that. This video is designed to remind the kind of content that partnership activates and those doors which get to open, which otherwise definitely wouldn't. And I think you'll agree, just by that short list alone, that sort of stuff just simply wouldn't happen without partners like that. So what I would like to ask you is, new decade is approaching in just a few days' time. There are some incredibly big and incredibly special things planned for the Mr. JWW channel. However, moving forwards with Michelin into our third year together, what would you like to see? Or shall I contextualize it? What doors would you like us to see open and give you an exclusive insight? Because that's what this partnership for me is all about, providing you with exclusives that, well, you effectively can't find anywhere else. So listen, thank you so much. 2019 has been an incredible year. I can't thank you enough. As it happens, I think, judging by the statistics of my channel, on New Year's Eve, we're going to hit 100 million views on this channel. I've been doing this for 4 years this month, and it's rocking over to 100 million views. I can't believe that. And every single one of those views is an audience member. So this is a massive thank you to you. I can't tell you how much this YouTube world has changed my entire life. So to read a number like 100 million views just blows my mind. And all I can say is thank you. And what 2020 is all about is stepping up some more. I wouldn't go so far as to say that we've been playing at it for the last 4 years, but for those first 2 years of those 4 years, I was effectively doing it part-time. So I've only been doing this full-time for 2 years. So 2020 is the start of a new decade, and I'm using that as a benchmark to go, right, now is time. Step it up and give these guys, you guys, what you want. So, questions, comments, awesomeness below. Have a fantastic New Year's Eve celebration with friends and family, and I am so excited to deliver the first video of 2020. Big things are coming. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Ciao!